And then say good morning, everyone. We are starting with gratitude on our Be the Change Connection call. This is how we make the world a better place. Leaders go first. So I honor and am very grateful for each and every one of you showing up to start our day in the best way. We get to choose how we want to feel moment to moment. And there's no one better that I can think of to really join us on the planet to help guide us through what this really means at the quantum level, at the level that we don't see all the time. I've had the pleasure of working with John. I've had private sessions, I've had group sessions. I have experienced some of the most profound, life-changing moments with John. And he is truly a light in the world. He's worked with many, many celebrities, including Tony Robbins. I'm a #1 fangirl. And Gwyneth Paltrow. I love Gwyneth Paltrow. I was so excited to see you featured on Goop. And the work that you're doing and the work that you're teaching, not only like the body work, but also I'm loving watching you teach the content. So we're so honored, and I'm just going to get stuck straight in, and I'm going to pin you. Can everyone see John in the middle? Yay. Yes, he's on. John, just, I kind of titled this, Energy is Everything. It's the currency of the universe, because I saw you post that recently and it stopped me in my tracks. I loved it. Let's just rip. Go for it, my friend. Thank you.
Well, I want to make sure that I serve this group and really support everyone in the ways that is really, what's needed for everyone right now. So I think, I'll speak to that currency, energy being the currency of the universe, and then we can, you can guide it if you have questions, or we can take questions from the group or just kind of dialogue here. But I think, we're all feeling right now, the impact of what's happening on the planet. It's definitely unprecedented. I'm in LA right now. LA is completely, shut down. All businesses except, with those considered essential businesses, et cetera. The economic, piece of this is huge. But there is a giant kind of reorganization that is happening, and I think it's just getting through this period and really not just getting through it and going back to life as it was, but it's going to be about, what's evolving and shifting, and how are we evolving and shifting as we go through this time. So, energy being the currency of the universe, fundamentally, the universe, the entire universe is about 95% energy, about just over under 5% is considered physical matter, just the physics of it. And then of that 5%, when you do go to the subatomic level, so you go, down, into the atomic structure of everything, our physical bodies, the physical structure of the wall in front of you or behind you, the floor you're standing on, everything, you get into quarks, and you get into, beyond the protons and down to the fundamentals of physics. You get to the quantum realm, and at that point, everything is actually energy as well. So we're really recognizing that everything is energy, and it's the currency of the universe, because the energy cannot be created or destroyed. It can only be transferred from one form to the other. It's kind of like the blockchain of the blockchain was kind of organized around this principle that every interaction, everything transaction that ever happens is recorded in some kind of ongoing ledger. And there's no difference for how energy is distributed in the universe. So it's like you have energy that's flowing in and out of you through the food you're eating, through the perspiration, through heat coming out of your body, through biochemical reactions that are happening inside of you. You have energy that's coming in the form of subtle electromagnetic fields, and you have energy in the form of kinetic, which is motion. You have energy in the form of like it comes in, it just comes in so many different ways that energy can be distributed. And so what happens is when we understand this, and it's just beyond, take it beyond a concept, like, oh yeah, okay, cool, everything's energy. Yeah, okay, energy. And we realize that every thought we think, every experience of emotion that we have and the expression of it, everything we feel, every action we take, every behavior in the world is influenced by how much energy we actually have access to fuel that particular activity. And if you don't have enough energy, if you don't have access to it, then you cannot carry out higher level consciousness. You cannot carry out higher level actions and behaviors. And no matter how hard you try, no matter how many affirmations you do, no matter how much you focus on trying to get where you think you want to go, you will not be able to manifest that because you don't have the fuel to create that. So it's not that there's not enough energy either. There's way more than enough. I mean, there's more energy that hits the entire, from the sun, that hits the earth in 2 minutes than we use in an entire year on this planet. So there's no shortage of energy. It's about utilization of energy. And when I say energy, it's not just, enough calories, which is on the physical level is critical to fuel ourselves. But it's also on the subtle level, when we connect into energy and information that's beyond the physical, and we connect into something that gives us a higher octane fuel, it's like connecting into an infinite, never-ending stream of resource. And that's what will get us through this period. And that's what will actually, in our lives overall, is what's going to uplift us, elevate us, and it's going to allow us to contribute and give even more. The question, though, that I get a lot is, well, like, how do I connect to that energy, and how do I make sure that I'm not, how do I get out of this state that I'm in, because it feels heavy and dense and sluggish and everything feels hard and it feels freaked out. I mean, I don't know how I'm going to, like all the things that come from, I don't know how I'm going to make it through. How am I going to pay my freaking rent or pay my mortgage? How am I going to put, food on the table? How am I going to get toilet paper? How am I going to get freaking enough toilet paper? Because everyone's buying up and hoarding all the toilet paper, right? So how in the sort of base foundational things of survival. And the key that I found in working with people, and, I had the experience of working with many thousands of people from all over the world at this point. But I had a practice for 2 decades where I worked with, families, people that I saw when I was at the birth when they had the child, and then the kid drove their, car to my office when they were 16, like their first trip, so I got to work with people over long periods of time, and not just kind of do one-off visits, but I got to see the progression of how people evolve over time and how patterns that are playing out in our lives. I was able to, track those. And so what I know is that you can't, number one, you cannot connect into these higher states and feel fueled and accessed and have access to this higher consciousness and feel energized and uplifted and elevated when you're trying to disconnect from, get away from, avoid, or completely get rid of the experience you're having on the physical level right now. So that means the survival mode. That means like, okay, what do I have to do? How, the part of us that's like, I got to make it through this. We have to be with that. We have to feel it. We have to be associated with it. We have to feel the emotions. We have to be able to express the emotions that we're feeling. We have to be present with our bodies. We have to honor them and let things move through us. And then by associating and feeling like, okay, this is a shit show. This is intense. This is, I don't even know how I'm going to, and just feeling the and allowing that to be experienced and expressed, that actually liberates energy, because energy is liberated and available to us when we're with what is without trying to make it different. And I call that the paradox of change, because the paradox is when you're fully associated with and you're really with something, it changes by your pure presence with that. And not only it changes, you change because you're not trying to change it. That's the paradox. There's no it to change. You're just with the experience and you're like, oh my God, I'm doing all these positive affirmations. I'm like, okay, I'm going to make it through. Okay, no, I'm abundant. Everything is flowing. No, it isn't right now. It's totally intense right now. So let's get real. Let's just feel like, I feel like everything's going to fall apart. I don't know how I'm going to do this. Ah! You let yourself have the experience. And then right on the other side of that is peace. You're like, oh, okay, yes. Okay, now I have energy available because it's not bound up in this fight or flight tension in my body, the nervous system, the muscles, the tendons, the spinal cord, everything tightens up, and that's binding up energy that we don't have available to us. So you can't change things if you don't have the energy to change them, and you can't get the energy to change them by just disconnecting from your body and going out to these higher places where you go, you know what, I'll just go into faith, trust, grace, prayer. Yes, do that, but don't try to leave the experience of this physical world, go to that place and think that somehow you're going to come back and not still have to deal with what's happening here. So it's integrating those things. And I think we all need to start with, can we be present with where we are right now, be in sync with what's happening in the world around us right now, but not get bound in the density of it and the heaviness of it and stay there. We associate with it, we feel it, but then we go to a higher place. And the thing is, you go to that higher place because you have enough energy to recognize that, okay, it's all going on, but you know what? I'm actually okay. I'm physically safe. I'm like, if you're anxious and you're feeling like, overwhelmed, you dissipate that energy, you let it move through, you look, and then you get out of that state by being fully there for a moment. Then you get more resourced and your mind starts now having more information available to it, because when you raise the energy, now consciousness can raise as well. And then you start looking around and going, okay, what do I have to deal with right now? What are things I need to cut? What are things I need to increase or decrease? What do I need to focus on in my business? What do I need to focus on in relationships? And now you have some energy to start to take care of what's happening right now. And then you can actually also go, oh, okay, I need to encode into my program here, into my day practices right now. They're going to elevate my energy, because I got to stay resourceful. I got to be accessing resources that so many people don't normally access, and the people that do may have sort of forgotten and disconnected from that because they're overwhelmed right now. You so it's key to build the practices in, which is awesome that everyone is here connecting in, plugging in, to get more energy right now, to get more inspiration, to get more kind of activated in this part of us that, our consciousness and our energy, we got to raise it up. Again, not at the expense of being present with what is, though, because that kind of positive thinking and going to, like, you know what, like, everything's going to be fine, we're going to make it through this, and you're just disconnecting from everything that you're really feeling, builds up tension, and then you lose power because you're really not present with what is, and you're really not allowing yourself to feel and be with that. And so now you're kind of running to fill the place in you that feels just freaked out or scared or overwhelmed or alone or super concerned. And my advice is just let's just slow it down for a moment, take inventory, come back to right here and right now in our being and body. And we can do a process for this, but I want to see if if what I'm saying is landing for people, get a sense of what's going on for you, and any someone said, Kathy said, we don't drown because we fall in the water, we drown when we stay there. Yeah, when we stay there and don't you go under and you're like, wow, I'm in the water, okay, now this is what it is, it's cold, it's it's covering me, okay, so now let me get my orientation here, Let me recognize where I am and then start to, what are the actions I need to take, right? So,
I love that, John. It took me a while to learn this, and it was through the process of working with you and you know, Katz and Epstein, was we can't avoid it. We can't go over it, around it, and we sure as hell can't stuff it down like I had done most of my life. And so moving through it, you know, one word that makes sense to me is transmuting it, like utilizing it,
yes.
so it can transform. And that's kind of the scary part. And needing the faith. Some of the hardest work I've done has been at that emotional, it feels like a cliff edge sometimes, but going through is the only way. Can you speak more to that? Because I can see a lot of people are grasping this. It's huge. If we get this and we don't try and avoid it, because I made all of those emotions wrong all the time.
Yeah, for sure. There was a Russian physicist, a Nobel Prize winner named Ilya Prigogine. And he got the Nobel Prize for something called this theory of dissipative structures. Technical, doesn't matter. What it was is, what Prigogine recognizes that when any system gets significantly what's called perturbated, which we're all getting perturbated right now, meaning you're getting shaken around, stirred up, that the molecules in that system go into a kind of a chaotic state. And in that chaotic state, they either do one of two things. They either reorganize into a more evolved structure, or they break down into more chaos. So when a system's getting perturbated, it needs enough energy to carry that organization through to the higher level, which is why we need to make sure that we're doing practices and things that access more energy. Sitting around looking at news all day and focusing on what we're losing and what's not working definitely creates more density and creates more heaviness. And we need to look at this. So for sure, we need to look at and take inventory of what's going on and not just go positive, positive, everything's going to be okay. Let's see realistically, if we were not able to generate any income for the next, 6 months, like what would we do? How do we do that? Like we have to look at this stuff. If we just sit there and look at that though, over and over and over, and keep focusing on that over and over, obviously we spiral, right? We cycle into this lower energy state. We bind up more, we build up tension. The body goes into more fight or flight. And when you're in more fight or flight, you are also shunting all this blood flow and oxygen away from this higher brain centers, which are associated with creativity, developing new meanings for things, spiritual insights and wisdom, like parts of our brain that are ancient survival parts of our brain overtake the parts that are designed for higher level consciousness. And so when Prigogine actually recognizes, he was talking about it not in terms of the human organism. He was looking at chemical reactions. But we can apply that same process because things tend to move toward more chaos and disorder. That's called entropy. They tend to break down unless there's sufficient consciousness and energy to organize them at higher levels, which is what life is, right? So the name of the game is, what are we putting into our consciousness? What are we focusing on? And what are we feeling? And what are we consistently expressing and allowing to move through us energetically? And what are we drawing in for sources of energy? And just tweaking the knobs and dials of our energy and consciousness shifts the physical material matter, because it's only 5% or less of the universe anyway. So we start to draw in energy from people around us. I mean, I feel this group, even though everyone's, I think, pretty much in Australia, like consciousness is non-local. So we're not separated by any distance in that realm. It's instantaneous communication. That's what things like remote viewing, that the US government hired the CIA, had people working to spy on the Russians. They had people that had skills in remote viewing. They could just give them a coordinate, longitude, latitude, and they could just tune in to what's happening in that place in the world. And how did they tune in? You can learn this. You can look it up. Remote view. You travel in your consciousness, which is not separated by any time or space. It's beyond that realm. And you just know, and you can see everything's accessible. Everything is available. This is an abundant, limitless universe. And right now, resources outside of us may seem contracting, but that's just a temporary rhythm and cycle of the earth and what's happening on the planet right now. But either we're going to have the resourcefulness inside to reorganize ourselves and become the person we need to become for what's next and what's needed, or we're going to try to hold on to the way it's been and go into contraction even further, and then the system starts breaking down. That goes into more chaos, which is really what happens when anyone is going through some kind of breakdown in life. You've bound up so much energy, you're in so much reaction, you don't have that energy available and flowing to be able to create changes. So yeah, the name of the game is where are you going to get the energy, and then where are you going to be, and how are you going to be putting more positive and not just positive thinking, but necessary information into your consciousness, or accessing it beyond your thinking mind, so that you can get fueled and held, because that grace is always there, the possibility is always there. It's just like clearing away the debris of the heaviness and density of the certain patterns of thought and density of unexpressed emotion and stuff, so that we clear out the system and then open up to our nature, which is love, grace, infinite, just amazingness, and we are the universe, having the experience of the universe. So, once we can recontextualize it, like, oh, okay, we're fine, we're actually okay. We're but we still have to feel that in our body and recognize and locate, okay, maybe I know that conceptually, but in my body I feel like, so we have to resolve the difference between knowing at this more conceptual or high level that we're held, and even if we've had experiences of oneness, experiences of infinite consciousness, knowing that we're beyond this space time and beyond this physical realm, we still are here incarnated, so we have practices that we got to integrate in order to stay connected.
I love that. I think that we understand a lot more of what you're saying, that it's all available. We have to use it. We have to feel it. We have to use it. And what are some of the practical ways? I think you said you might show us something, because we're all in our heads still, right? Where it's like, yeah, where's the toilet paper? How do I do this? How do I connect? How do I reorganize?
Totally. Yeah, we can do a practice for sure.
This crew is always up for the doing and the fun.
Yeah. So I think rather than conceptualize and talk about it and theorize it and get hypothetical, let's just go on a little journey here where we can connect into the groundedness of being present here with the life force energy and the physical body, and feel the support of the rhythm and cycle of the earth. The earth is super actually happy right now. Deforestation has dropped 50% in the last few weeks. There's all these animals returning to places. There's like clean air. There's all this stuff going on. The earth is like, it's like breathing. We're not just traipsing all around everywhere, just grinding away. So connecting into that, the rhythm of a planet that's one ecosystem that we're so all part of, and remembering our grounded foundation to that, we'll start there. Then we'll access and connect into the infinite, and I'll let the crown and the higher aspect of our being be available and accessed, and then we can integrate those together and just bring it into an experience of being embodied in the body here, grounded, knowing and remembering that we're safe and secure in this incarnation, in this body right now, and that we're held by something greater, and we don't have to figure it all out. We do have to focus our minds in certain periods and times. We do have to express the emotions that are coming up and just let those move through. And we do have to use our thinking minds, but the thinking mind should be a tool of the soul and the infinite, not just trying to make decisions from a place of lack and separateness and feeling like we have to somehow get from point A to point B to somehow be okay. It's more remembering that we're held and that we are okay and beyond okay, and then using that knowing to direct our mind, because then we actually create some really cool stuff. So let's do this together. And I just invite you, with wherever you are right now in your space, to just ground yourself by feeling your pelvic floor, feeling your pubic bone and your tip of your tailbone settling down into the chair, and feel your feet on the ground, and feel how the bottom, the soles of your feet are actually connected. Even if you're on a high story of a building, that you can direct and focus your awareness all the way down through your feet and your legs and your pelvis down into the earth. And we're going to do a breathing practice that this isn't a breathing exercise, but it's just a way to help circulate energy in your body, where you put your tongue at the roof of your mouth, and the breath will be in through your nose and out through your nose. And it's called Ujjayi breathing in yoga, but it's also a breath that's used in Taoist practices and Qigong. It's an energizing breath. It builds up qi and builds up energy, and it helps us ground and feel the life force in our body. So we want to activate that life force because life force energy is what animates us, and it's what's associated with keeping all of the systems of the body working, even when we're not thinking about it. And so when we activate and grow our life force energy and connect to that life force energy, it's sometimes we get hot. Sometimes it's like a tingling or vibration. Sometimes it's a coolness. Some people don't really feel it so much, but they see it. And other people just feel relaxed. But I want you to just focus your energy down into your pelvis, focus your energy into your legs, your quads, down into your calves, and then into your feet. Elongate your spine so that you almost feel like there's a thread or a string of energy pulling the top of your crown up toward the ceiling. And like your spine is being pulled away from the rest of your body, and it'll just kind of hanging from the sky. We're going to keep that elongation, and then you bring your chin a little bit back toward the core, toward the midline, and feel yourself breathe in through your nose with the tongue at the roof of the mouth. And imagine a stream of energy coming up through the center of your spine, center of your body, all the way up to your crown. And then as you breathe out through your nose, circulating down through the center of your brain, and then all the way down through and down into your pelvic floor, and cycling underneath your pelvic floor as you take the next breath in. Let your belly poof out a little bit, and elongating, drawing the energy up through the crown, and then back down. And the energy goes down through where your tongue is touching the roof of your mouth. That completes a circuit of energy in the system. It's called the microcosmic orbit. Take a breath in. And when you breathe in, let your belly kind of poof out. So you're breathing deep down into that lower abdomen. And when you breathe out, squeeze your belly in, your belly button toward your spine, and squeeze your pelvic floor a little bit. And then breathe in, release the pelvic floor, release the belly. Imagine energy flowing up through your spine, all the way up to the crown, and then down. Squeezing your belly in as you exhale out, and compressing the pelvic floor. And continue that, cycling. And visualize this red energy that's growing at the base of your spine. Keep doing that, breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. As you're visualizing this glowing red ball of energy right at the center of the pelvic floor, and it's spreading all the way down your legs and spreading up your spine, and feeling like the whole fabric, the way that the fabric of the connective tissues of your body works is that energy travels through like a liquid crystal. It's like what are those like little strings of lights that light travels through? But our body is like a liquid crystalline structure of light and energy, fiber optics. So it's like a fiber optic meshwork. And so you're going to breathe in and see this red energy filling your whole body. Tongue at the roof of the mouth, let the energy come up the spine, and then out. And then I want you to take your hands and just scan your body and feel, is there anywhere right now that feels, I don't know, angsty or heavy or dense, or like when you touch it, it's an area that's symptomatic, or it just feels like it draws your hands and it feels like there's an emotional quality there. not pressure, but like a sense of, if I were to touch into that area and I really were to feel what was there, there'd be some charge, there'd be some quality or or some feeling there, but my brain is more feeling it as just physical right now. And wherever that is, if it's your heart, if it's your head, if it's your throat, if it's your belly, it's your solar plexus area, just put your hands there for a moment. And then, and it can, if it's on the back of your body, you can either reach it, or if you can't reach it, just go from the front of your body and project your awareness and your focus right through your body, right into that place from the other side, because you're just taking your consciousness there. If we can travel our consciousness through anywhere in time space, then we can certainly travel right through our bodies with it. Take a breath in, touching that area through your nose, and breathe gently out through your mouth. And notice as you're touching that part of you, does it feel somehow vague or almost like you're touching somebody else's body, dense or hard or hollow there? Or do you feel like you can kind of sink into your body and feel your awareness, feel your presence deeply sink into you? Are you with this, or is it almost like a foreign body you're touching? Sometimes when we're disconnected from that life force, we can't really feel ourselves. We're trying to work it out and get rid of this tension, and we're not even with it. We're not with the energy. So I want you to notice when you're touching it and just check. And if you feel like it's kind of foreign or just feels dense or heavy or hollow, just say, I feel disconnected. Right here, I feel disconnected. And notice what that feels like. And if it feels like there's connection there, but it just feels like there's charge there, take a breath in, into your nose, and then as you let it out, make a sound for about 3 to 5 seconds, like, any angst, any anxiousness, any sadness, any overwhelm, any like, how many times do we let ourselves just actually make the sound? Some of you are like, I don't do that. I don't make sounds. Well, just do it anyway, because the tendency is our mind won't let us, because no one, you're all on mute anyway. Our minds won't let us because sound liberates emotional energy, and it gets our emotional brain connecting that information back to our higher brain so that we can actually do something with that energy. So first we have to be with it, and then we have to feel it. But if we can't feel it because we're disconnected, then what happens is we just feel tension, and then we have no power there. We just feel like it's something happening to us rather than being with the experience. So whatever area you're holding, once you acknowledge if it felt disconnected, visualize, feel, sense that part of you, and imagine the energy there actually spreading and growing, and not trying to make it go away, but actually flowing more out or up or down through your heart, through your chest, through your belly, through your throat, through your head. And take a breath into it. And then let a sound out of like, what would be the sound that would let that energy move even more freely? And if it feels like any pressure or tension's building up, it's because you're actually not with it and you're still doing something to that part of you. So then just acknowledge, wow, I feel disconnected and I'm trying to make something happen. And you can just bring your attention back to your body, to yourself, without trying to change anything, and just give yourself compassion in this moment right there. Like you're holding a little baby and you're just cradling that part of yourself, and you just breathe. And just ask that part of your body, what do you need? You need some love, some compassion, some gentleness right now, some care. Do you need to just let something out? Like, let it flow. We're conditioned to just use our minds and not connect to our bodies. We're conditioned to just push through, power through, and just be like, I'm fine. No, I got this. Positive thinking will do it. That doesn't work. So now bring your presence and attention back to your feet on the ground, your body on the chair, your spine straight, that elongation of your spine, a little thread of energy going up through the crown. And I want you to just focus your attention right in the area between your eyebrows, that what's called the third eye, or the ajna. It's the 6th energetic center or chakra. And visualize as you breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth, like this gentle spiral of energy going through in this indigo color, and go right down into the center of your brain, right at the epicenter of your brain. There's an area deep inside that's called in the Taoist tradition, it's called the Crystal Palace. In the yogic or Vedic tradition, it's called the Cave of Brahma. It's this deep center of the brain that gets activated when we're connecting into higher states and states of consciousness. So look right up through your third eye, right? Like you're bringing your gaze right into the center of your brain. And then imagine and feel, and beyond just imagination, connect into that psychic consciousness channel that is right through the crown. And imagine and feel and sense this stream or column of violet white energy coming down through the top of your head. The entire universe just pouring grace, gentleness, and flow down through your crown. And meeting up right in that epicenter of your brain, right where that vortex through the third eye and into the center of the brain and the vortex coming down through the top of your crown meet up right in the center of your brain. And take a breath in. It's also right in the area of the pineal gland, which is tied into higher states of consciousness when it's activated, and out through your mouth. And let that energy flow down through and expand through your body. And make a sigh or a sound of release. See if you can make a tone or a vibration that would vibrate right into the center of your brain with the most angelic or most high frequency vibration you can muster up. Feel it vibrating deep into the center of your brain. And then bring your attention to your heart. And if you would like to even help locate it even more, put your fingertips right on the tip of the sternum, right above your heart. And visualize this vortex of energy coming through the front and back of your heart. The densest part of this kind of flow is right through the center of your body, and it expands out in this beautiful torus, which is this, it's like a vortex, like donut shape that opens up away like a tornado, going from your heart, opening up, circling around your body and into the back of your body, right through the back of your chest, in a vortex that goes right through the front and it circles out through the front. Take a breath into it. Visualize this bright golden, for some of you it might be green, flow of energy going through. And spread that torus, that flow, that giant vortex kind of donut of energy coming back around all the way out beyond your physical body and way beyond the building you're in, way beyond the atmosphere, beyond the earth. And let all the resources and gifts that you need right now be flowing in from the universe into your heart, back into the field. And as you give that out, you open to receive even more of what you need to take you further into what you're really here for. It's all an illusion. It's not about the economics. It's not about the pandemic and the virus. It's about, we're here incarnated in this body for a purpose beyond what any of us could ever imagine or know. And the way we touch people and the far-reaching effects of our connection to ourselves, now that'll impact those around us who are less resourced, less connected, less elevated in their energy and consciousness, will be profound. Take a breath in. Expanding through the crown, that third eye area, deep into the center of the brain. Feel your heart expanding and feel the groundedness and connection down into your pelvic floor, and a column of energy and stream of energy up through your entire spine and flowing down through your crown, through your entire spine. Letting it all out. Coming back into presence, back into your physical body, physical plane here. Beautiful. So we've activated some of the energy centers. We've activated the higher and we've activated the lower. We can bring that higher resonance into the physical system. And there are channels, psychic channels. There's channels beyond the physical plane. They don't exist in this dimension where we can travel, our consciousness can travel through our bodies. And when we recognize that the body isn't this solid, dense container that our consciousness is somehow locked into, and that our body is actually in our consciousness and we are existing in this vast field, it frees us to be able to change things dramatically. It frees us to be able to organize our bodies and our cells and our tissues in new ways, organize our lives in new ways, and it frees us up to be able to create. So I'm curious how you're doing. You can come back into this time and space and kind of bring yourself back into the moment here. And I would love to, either from you, Linda, or from anyone, however you want to go, we can take, maybe 10 minutes to just whatever, Q&A, get some shares, just get some feedback.
I love this. I love it. It teaches us the power of just stopping and going within, just that breath. It doesn't need to be complex. The slowing down is amazing. And I loved the part how you said be compassionate, because my go-to is, oh no, not this bit again, not that old sacrum there, that red pain, what is this? And then compassion of be with it and learning and growing.
I'm glad you brought that up, because we're the achievers are the ones that we are like, why am I going to go into this and feel this, give me a tool, let's just get on with it. Like, why would I want to amplify or intensify the feeling of shittiness, so the purpose of connecting to where you are is that allows you to have your experience. Suffering is when you are unable to experience what you're actually feeling, because your brain won't let you, your conditioning won't let you have that experience because you don't see value in it. Why would I suffer? I'm not a victim. Why would I put my focus there? But it's the opposite, because everyone here is resourceful and are achievers. You're not going to get stuck there. But the mind is a tricky thing, because we're like, well, let me do that exercise to shift this, and we're always trying to shift things to get to a better place. But the compassion is necessary for us to really, really be with the part of us that needs to be expressed, and have that experience be able to be expressed in a way that's honest and authentic. And if we don't do that, then we're skating over the surface, and whatever we layer on top of that disconnection grows in the darkness, in a way, in the lack of conscious awareness. And whatever we layer and stack on top of that, no matter how quote unquote successful we get, that will be growing as well. So you can't run away from yourself and find peace. You go right there, but you want to do it in a resourced way, not just, you don't have to relive the experience, you don't have to go into, but you have to express the energy that wasn't maybe able to be expressed at the time. So if someone went through abuse, or if someone had an injury, or someone has some chronic, maybe you get headaches, maybe you have some chronic area of your body that's constantly bothering you, instead of trying to just make it go away, you bring your attention and focus there, and you investigate, like, what am I connected to this part of me? And if I'm not, I acknowledge and speak that, hey, I feel disconnected here. And then I bring a resource of energy from another place, a higher place, somewhere I do feel connected, or from the infinite, the divine, and just bring it there and just let that flow. Put my hands on that part of my body and just ask not for it to go away, because the cells that are there are just a colony of you. It's a holographic system. Every cell has the whole in it. So you can't get away. There's not some part you're going to cut that part out of your body and somehow it was some foreign invader, you know. And even viruses, they're binding to different receptor sites on the cells and tissues of your body, but they activate mechanisms within your body as reactions, et cetera. So we can work with this. I'm not saying that like, look, if we're getting exposed and somebody gets sick, the majority of people, almost everyone's going to be fine. You'll have some maybe mild symptoms. A handful of people will have acute respiratory distress and all these things, but most people, it's like you can really navigate your energy to keep yourself in a higher place, which definitely helps you in immune response. And the immune system is an emotionally integrated system. Your white blood cells are tied into all emotional responses, your histamine response, all these physiological responses that happen in our body are our emotional system having an engagement with the world around us. So our emotional state truly does influence our immune system, and there's research on that for sure. So connecting in, being with what is, having self-compassion, allowing ourselves to express, connecting to higher sources of energy, and then hydrating ourselves and taking, you know, the supplements we need to be taking, and getting out and getting some sun on our bodies, and, you know, walking, and all the things that we know to do. It's just critical to do them. But doing all the right things and not being connected, you can do all the right things, let me tell you, and you can be miserable and suffering. So it's not about just doing the right things. It's about connecting and then doing the things that your body tells you need. Like maybe you need a lot more rest right now. Maybe you need a lot more exercise right now. What do you need? How do you know if you're not connected to your own body? So you got to, and can you really get information from someone if you're not compassionate and connected and have rapport? So you have to do the same thing with yourself. Someone's not going to tell you their deepest, authentic experience and fears and hopes and dreams, et cetera, if you're not able to be present with them and listen. You have to do the same with your body. And then your body will liberate energy, and then your body will give you information about what you need to be doing right now. You don't have to you can't figure it all out from up here. So I hope that's useful for people.
I love that. You're seeing all the comments here. I think the one thing that has been so useful for me about this practice, that, you know, the connecting to your body work, you know, I was living in my head for most of my life, and it was scary to get back in my body because I was so disconnected for so long. And I remember at a Deepak Chopra event, I lined up and asked the question, what's the nature of pain? He's like, pain is consciousness, you know, it's here for you. And I'm just like, I don't like that answer. I want a better answer. I want to get rid of it. And what you've been saying, what I'm hearing, and what I know to be true, is we can only release and transmute when we embrace and love what is, and feel what is, and see what is. And, you know, some of it is going to be scary, but we can't get around it. There's no way around it.
That's so well said, Lynn. I mean, there's no power in the concept of things. The power is in the experience. The power is being present with what really is. And that's where, when you're fully there, you're like, this is where I'm at right now. Let me address where I'm at, and let me express this. See, energy that's bound up in the body, in the tendons and the muscles and the ligaments and the soft tissues, the organs, and, you know, energy gets bound up when we're experiencing, you know, for various reasons. I mean, there's physical injuries and stresses, there's mental, emotional, there's, you know, chemicals that can, like, there's different things that can put the system into fight or flight, but it's the same mechanism no matter what triggers us. But energy gets bound up, and that energy, when it's not able to move and express, it feels like physical tension we can't shake. It's a tenseness or tightness or just a general sense of lack of presence with our body. And for some people, they've been disconnected for so long that they don't even they don't even realize it or recognize it. I may spend the whole first like 2 decades of my life having no idea that I was completely disconnected. I had no reference because I was, you know, I was super symptomatic with all kinds of asthma and allergies and eczema and all these conditions, but I had no connection to the inner world. So we got to build a bridge to be able to, in a way, penetrate our own selves, our bodies, and feel. And then once we start to feel, then we have to have the permission to express. And energy in motion, energy moving in the tissues is emotion. And once emotion is expressed, it moves and it turns to something else. It turns to a different emotion. So you could be in one moment like, oh my God. And then the next moment you're like, oh yeah, it feels peaceful now. So we get it, we inhibit the expression because it's not sanctioned in a way by the culture to be making these sounds and moving our bodies in these ways. But our body, all human beings, our bodies will liberate tremendous energy when we allow the sounds and motions that are true to come out. It's like dogs and cats and animals, little kids, you know, they just like, they make the sounds, they move their bodies. They don't hold it as much. I mean, they still do, but not as much because the fight or flight response needs a dissipation after it happens. So we got to move that energy somehow. If you just try to hold it all together and be like, I'm fine, I'm going to just work on my business over here, you're screwed. You're totally screwed. So don't just divert that energy into something to avoid what you're doing. Yes, use that and leverage that energy of the intensity of what's going on to direct it into something powerful that you're going to create. But first feel it and experience it, because you might find that some of the things you thought you had to be doing, you really don't need to do. You're just trying to keep busy out of an anxious, overwhelmed state, and you're trying to distract yourself from what you're really feeling. If you were to really feel it, you might find that, wow, I'm actually just going to chill. I'm going to allow, and I'm going to let what needs to happen kind of unfold right now, and I'm going to open myself up. Or you might be like, I've been doing that, and that's bullshit. I need to be actually focused right now on doing stuff because there's so many things I could be getting done right now. And it could be a combination, but you don't know until you're connected. And so, like, what do you need to be doing? Do you need to be doing? Do you need to not be doing? Do you need to be creating a schedule for yourself right now so that you can organize things? Or are you overscheduled, and this is a time that now you've been like freed up to feel and experience, draw, play an instrument, you know, do something completely different than what you normally would have been doing. We all know that, you know, Bill Gates talks about this. He spends a couple weeks, you know, he just takes them and just reads books and, you know, fills his mind. People, you know, we take a period anyway to like reset and open up to new possibilities, read different things, pick up, you know, go on. Everyone's doing Instagram lives and all these things right now. Go on and do something. I'm listening to all these people. I did like a Kundalini yoga thing this morning, and I listened to some, a couple of people talking about things I would have never listened to. But everyone's, you know, there's so much resource available right now. So there's a lot available around us, and we got to stay connected within ourselves. And I hope that, you know, that there's been some value in that, and I've hammered that one home.
Well, this has been such a gift, and what's so cool is we lived it on Facebook, so we can listen to it every morning if we want. And just to finish now with the sound.
Yes.
This was something you know, foreign and uncomfortable to me. And especially, you know, when you come to one of the energy clinics and everyone's just like sounding off and everyone's got their way to kind of release, it's wild and wacky, and it is so effective. And like you said, our kids do this so well. And we, you know, our middle child is she's volatile, let's call her that. And I was like, you know, taking her to Dr. Katz, you know, Steve, and, you know, he's checking all the kids, and he's like, this one's taking everything in and holding. This is the one we need. This one, oh my God, she's great. If she falls off a tree, bring her back. She's been a 10-year-old, emotional, loud little girl. That's awesome. And I learned so much in that moment that we restrict and we make wrong. For so much of my life, I made loud and, you know, not feeling good emotions just wrong. I won't deal with them. I won't accept them. I have to just be happy over here all the time. And that was a pattern starting to happen in my kids. That
Yeah.
was my leverage to change this shit and just like, it has to stop.
You know, everything in the universe is energy. Everything is vibrating and resonating at different frequencies. Like we're seeing each other here because we're pixels of light are hitting the retinas of our eyes. Those are like wave vibration, particle wave vibrations that is light. We are hearing this because there's puffs of air coming out of a little speaker that's resonant vibration that's hitting the tympanic membrane of our ear. Our brain is transmitting that vibrational frequency, which is waves, into sound, into meaning in our brain. When touch on our body, we touch, we're feeling and connecting with vibratory frequencies that the brain is picking up and the receptors in the skin. You know, everything is vibration, everything is energy. So when we make sound, we allow ourselves to express the sound that is the true sound there. It's like holding a tuning fork up to that part of you that did not get a chance to vibrate and resonate through its entire range. And so like your daughter that's like super expressive and the other one that's maybe more repressed in the range, we want to open up. That doesn't mean you have to get super loud or you have to get super intense. Sometimes the range is like deepening into a part of us that's super vulnerable and soft and really more quiet inside. And it's like, oh, I would not let myself go to that place because it actually felt so tender. And sometimes it's like connecting that part of you that's just like, you know, you need to connect into the beast, right, mode, whether that's deep in your pelvis or deep in your throat or wherever it is, and like really feel that power. So the resonant vibration of the tissues and cells of our body gets restricted when our emotional system gets restricted. And so when you're opening it up, it's like if you have a pack of those little crayons, the little 8 crayons, like Crayolas or whatever that they would give you in like elementary school, and then you're doing pictures with those, and you know you have all these combinations you can do, but then you find out there's a 64 pack, you know, that has like all these colors, and you're like, oh my god, like I can, like this is crazy, right? It opens up a whole new world of possibilities. The emotional range is sort of like that. We tend to stay in certain conditioned habitual ranges, and we don't allow ourselves to feel. Don't allow ourselves to get too loud. Don't be too tender or vulnerable. Don't make the sound of being very, very sad. Don't make the sound of being angry. Don't let it express because it's not safe for some reason. Whether we're aware of that or not, that's happening in all of us on different levels. So to open up the range and allow the expression of what's there to happen liberates us to be able to move through things very quickly rather than hold them. Because we have the moment, it's released, and then on to the next thing. And even if we are in a situation where it's not culturally appropriate to express that, like in a meeting or something, we can recognize what's going on, and then in the car on the way home, or, you know, when we get back to home and lay down in our bed and go, you know, have the expression of it, not to get it out, not to get rid of something, but to feel and experience that so that it can be integrated into our bodies and our systems. And then we're no longer running from things. We're truly able to be with what is, and there's so much power in that. And then all these things just start sort of manifesting because you're not trying to be someone, be somewhere, get something to happen. You're just really experiencing what is, which is, there's a beautiful opportunity. And I think in closing, that there's an amazing opportunity right now to experience what is, feel it, accept it, and then consciously choose what we want to focus on, because we're so present with what is that we not, it's not just consciously choosing to say, I want this to happen, but it's consciously choosing based on a sense of connection, which then will guide us without us having to figure it out. And then you just know, and then you go into action, and that action then will feel joyful. You might work harder than you ever worked right now, but it won't feel like stress. It won't feel frenetic. It'll feel coherent. It'll feel clear. It'll feel focused. And that only happens when you're connected. So I leave you with that. I highly recommend that be a priority right now. And you take that into whatever you're doing. And I thank you for having me on.
This was such a gift. You are a blessing, and I'm honored to know you. I know that everyone else, you will have a whole new fan base here. Find John at Dr. John Amaral. I just put it in the comments there. I'll put it on my Facebook page as well. And everyone can learn more about this and this work on Netflix. Everyone's very familiar with Netflix right now. On the Gwyneth Paltrow series called Goop. I think there's there's plant medicine. It's such a great series. And I was just so excited to see this work come to the light to help people understand and not be fearful of what they don't understand, but that awareness of what's out there to help our body.
Yeah, the show's called Goop Labs.
Goop Labs.
Goop Labs, and then and also right now we're on day 3 of it, but I invite anybody here if you want to join up on my Instagram. It's at Dr. John Amaral. There's a 7-day what I'm calling the Fight or Flight to Flow challenge that's going on right now. So it's free. It's a video-based course, and I take you each day through a process or exercise, and all the videos are unlocked. So like if you wanted to come in and do it, you can sign up in the link in the bio on my Instagram, and feel free to join us for that. And I think that'll be, the point is to make this kind of these tools available for people right now during this kind of wild time on the planet.
Thank you. I think the gift is the unprecedented generosity of everyone just opening up and creating and sharing and giving. It's pretty amazing. So thank you so much. I have loved our time with you. I'm so appreciative. I'm going to go gallery view so you can just see everyone pouring so much love and waving big thanks and gratitude and hugs and kisses to you. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Linda. And enjoy your time right now with your families.
That's right.
I'll be hopefully crossing paths with you, many of you, very soon.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Bye.